Good afternoon. Well, you know that research suggests that the principal is second only to the teacher as the individual that who has the most impact on student success. You know that this country currently also is experiencing shortage of principals in urban and rural schools, you know, especially in where they have a diverse population. So we are increasingly becoming diverse, and the need for better prepared principals and teachers is more evident than ever, especially with all the academic gaps that we still have. Diverse schools that have failed to have students meet the standards of the state via assessments also is on the rise, and an effective strategy that we want to address, and we do that very successfully at IDRA, is how do we prepare teachers, leaders, principals, assistant principals, and leadership teams in the preparation of them as visionary leaders, and competent administrators who are advocates, are visionary leaders, are instructional leaders that focus on academics. There are collaborators and there are risk takers, and that influence their teaching staff, as well as that work collaboratively with parents and community leaders. At IDRA, again, we want to improve the effectiveness of principals, leadership teams, to increase the achievement of all students. And we do this by establishing transformational approaches that build on self-efficacy, as well as developing a transformative, positive school culture. We also work very importantly with data-informed instruction and student-centered systems. And one of the things that we want to do is we want to build relationships, trusting relationship with the principals and their leadership teams, to make sure that they trust us again and allow us to work with them collaboratively. One of the things that we do, the ones they open their doors for us, we again go there and meet with them, let them know who we are, what we do, letting them know that we're there to collaborate with them, to build on their strength, and we are not there in any means or forms to evaluate them. That's very important, that we're there to work with them, to support them in the work, and to help them grow as needed, and help them building their capacity. So basically, once we do those things, they're very open. We work with, we conduct a contextual analysis of the campus. We identify the needs that are there collaboratively as a team, and then determine if there are any what we call academic gaps, of course, and we identify the root cause of the matters on hand. A lot of times, what we have found out is that special populations are not receiving the needs that they need in order to perform. So we work collaboratively with those issues, right? We look at the data that indicates where are the gaps, what specifically are the areas of need. For example, in a district we work with had to do with reading areas. And in reading specifically, looking at the state assessment, it was about 90% of the test was all based on some form and fashion of inferencing. Inferencing is also a skill that is tested in and taught through K-12 from kinder all the way through 12th grade, and consistently and historically it has been an objective, a TEAK. We call it a TEAK because it's Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. It's one area, one skill set that students struggle throughout. So what we have done is identify that that's the actual issue, and then we work together with the principal in developing professional development for teachers. We do this again collaboratively, working with the administrative team as well as with the teaching staff. One of the things that we do consistently is make sure that they understand that, again, we're there to support them, to help them, and in many cases do demonstration of lessons with their own kids. That way they know how to approach that particular skill set and how to use best practices in order to be successful. And then the teacher observes that coach there, that consultant there, and what, again, we do that with their own students. Then they see how the students are interacting and are being engaged with that person that is doing the demonstration of the lesson. And then what we do, we consistently do it with the next group of students, or the next day. Then the teacher actually get to practice with their own students what they have learned from the coach or from the consultant that has been doing the demonstration of the lesson. Then what we do, we actually co-teach with them. Okay, we do the co-teach model. Then we let them do it on their own, and then we provide feedback. This way we build the capacity of that teacher as well, and they become more, their self-efficacy actually increases, as well as they know that they can do it and they can do it successfully. So we celebrate their wins, and we keep on building their capacity. So a lot of data dives. We also do a lot of classroom observations along with the leadership team to calibrate those and make sure that we are targeting the specifics that we need to see. It's all based on asset-based practices, again, focusing on the strength. And if we identify weaknesses, we make sure that those weaknesses become strength. We work also collaboratively with the professional learning communities that the school have in place. Make sure that these professional developments are following the model to fidelity, and that it's not just a time to just come and just talk to each other or to just write lesson plans during that time frame. No, it's actually a time where we actually go and make sure that the process is going smoothly, that there's data discussions, that their data dives are done with fidelity, again, and with a purpose and with urgency. And also we want to make sure that students also understand their own individual data. We also make sure that parents have access to this information and that they understand what the data says and how we could also support them, or how they can also support at home with the child, so that we can collaborate in this process to ensure that the student is successful. So there's a lot of discussions. There's a lot of personalized coaching and mentoring services. We do this also through questioning, to reflective questions that we pose to the administrators, and we do this face to face. We can do this 2, 3 times, 4 times a month. We can also do it sometimes that we even give our personal cell numbers. That way they can communicate with us if in need. And we have been very successful in doing this work. The people see us as, like I said, partners in education to improve practices at the administrator level as well as at the teaching level. Parents, again, are part of the equation here, and we also communicate with them to make sure that they understand that the purpose of them being active members of the team and that we can hear their voices is important. And when we do these things, they really engage and they really support the campus. So those are some of the strategies that we work on. The one thing also that we work with districts is also identifying who are the master teachers that have been very successful in working with all students, increasing their academic achievement, and how do we build then our own capacity as far as leaders. So maybe these master teachers will be willing to become instructional leaders at their campus, whether as coaches or whether as administrators. So we try to build capacity as far as building the leadership pool of the district. Other things that we do, again, in the coaching and mentoring of principals, again, is having those crucial conversations, allowing them to reflect upon their own practices and their own policies, and seeing what works, what doesn't work, how do we address it in a way that is more asset based rather than focusing on the deficits. We're trying to have a growth mindset, and again, it has worked beautifully when we are working with them. One of the things that is important is again, how do we build that leadership capacity in terms of competencies, so that we can have effective systemic change, and that the practices are there to improve teaching and learning. We also want to address institutional changes that need to be addressed, specifically when we're working with marginalized students, students that have been so many inequalities, and students that have been oppressed. And how do we together become agents of change, and we challenge the status quo, so that we can help all the individuals interact, collaborate, and examine the policies and practices that are implemented, so that we understand that the curriculum and the support system that we have in place are the ones that really are the ones that are going to be institutionalized now to liberate rather than oppress students. One of the things that we also want to do, again, is enable the integration of theory into practice. So we do a lot of research, we bring a lot of data, we examine all of that together, so we can help the leadership team with either advice and provide alternative solutions for consideration. But we try to do it through reflective questioning, because they internally can come up with their own solutions. When they get stuck with it, that's when we actually come up and we ask permission to become a consultant at the time, and then we talk to them based upon our own experience. All of the coaches have been experts in the field, have expertise, have been former principals, have done the work, had great successes working with all types of populations. And again, we want to make sure that we consider all of the students in building their capacity and making sure that they are successful. So we want to attain and retain the teachers that we have, and if there are some that need help, that's what we're there for, to help them grow and take them under our wing and help them do the work that they need to do, right? Because in the long run, we are in charge of making sure that the students are the number one priority, that they are receiving a quality education so that they can really be successful. We want to be able to communicate the urgency and need for change. We want to make sure that we never lose sight of the importance of focusing on the improvement of instruction. We want to celebrate as early as possible. We want to have those quick wins to inspire and gain collaboration of all staff. And that's very important. We want to strengthen staff commitment to change. And if they trust us as administrators, then they're able to do the work that they need to do, if they know also that we're going to be there to support them. So again, we focus on preparing and certifying innovative principals, trying to build a pool of effective administrators who are specifically trying to be innovative in identifying master teachers so that they can move up into administration, whether still at the local school, whether working as a coach, as an instructional coach, or as department chairs, or even as assistant principals or academic deans, and then moving up to principal. We want to strengthen the competency levels of current principals and their leadership teams. We want to do this through individualized coaching and mentoring. This is customized, and it's customized to the school, and is job embedded. We're actually there at the schools to support the implementation of these effective practices. We want to make sure that we build a school culture around justice and equity principles. We want to make sure that we build a strong professional community with collective responsibility for learning. We're all in this together, and we are as strong as the weakest link. So we need to make sure that we work collaboratively, and that we understand what our role is, and that we support that everyone in that role. We want to make sure that we align parents and key community stakeholders around the shared vision and goals of the school. So we try to make sure that we foster, that effective principles actually foster and build relationship between schools, families, and communities. If we are not able to do that, then we're not gonna be able to reach the population that can help us in building capacity in all children. And we need to actually focus on, we mainly focus on those 5 promising new principles and practices that I'm talking about, as far as selecting, preparing, and certifying master teachers as principals. We're trying to do that. We want to make sure that we coach and meet and provide support to the current principals and leadership teams, provide the coaching and mentoring services, aim at improving systemic effectiveness and learning, like I mentioned, individually or as a group, with the goal of improving academic achievement of all students. Some of the reasons why some schools are low performing schools, or they struggle and they have in the report card grade, they have a low grade, is because the schools or the districts are not addressing the special population, specifically the English learners or the emerging bilinguals. Kids are very smart, they can do the work, but we as a system have failed to provide the services they need. Just like it was mentioned this morning, some of the students actually feel that they go to school. In that video that was shown by Michelle and the other 2 presenters, they feel like they're there, but they're not there. They feel invisible. And I have been in schools where that is the case. I have observed many classrooms. I went to a school in a particular state in Oklahoma, actually. And in that particular school, I went to all the classroom. I was there for 2 days. And it was only one classroom. There was only one classroom where the students actually felt that they belong, that they were part of, they felt connected. All the other classrooms, the kids were there. They were well behaved, but they were completely disconnected. They felt, and I felt for them, that they felt that they were invisible in those classrooms. And that's not how we need to improve education in schools. We want to support then principals to establish and facilitate, again, effective professional learning communities where there's share and collective responsibility for curriculum and instructional effectiveness. And we want to make sure that when we work with schools, that there is that involvement or engagement of that team to make sure that they align and partner with parents and community stakeholders, so that they in turn can feel supported by them. Now, we can't just use just think that just, okay, come and volunteer or come and participate in the services that the school is having. It's more about having those key players, those parents, those key players, and as many as possible, so that they could actually become leaders of the campuses. And that is critical. Okay. Do I have any questions? Nadia Nashir, thank you for being here. one of the things that that I want to also say is that all of our coaching is also addressing the standards of instructional leadership in the different states. Whether it is instructional leadership, human capital, executive leadership, school culture, and strategic operations, as well as ethics. Those are the ones that we have here in Texas. I'm assuming that there are some of those standards in every state has its own leadership standards or principal standards, and all of them are in conjunction with the TPES, which is the one for principals, in this case, Texas Principal Assessment, as well as for teachers. As I mentioned before, the principal leadership team members are former campus principals of high poverty schools with a majority minority student population. They have been very successful to increase English learner academic achievement, and are expert coaches whose work has helped turn around school results. IDRA brings nationally recognized expertise in engaging families of second language learners as agents of self-advocacy, like I mentioned before. And it is important that we bring parents to the table as leaders, not just as volunteers. And that's the approach actually that IDRA takes. I'm not saying that that's not important. It is, but we can have parents be more engaged in the education of their children, supporting what they are the first ones to advocate for their child. All of them want to have their child do well in school. We as a system need to do whatever it takes to make sure that that happens. So we have had this experience in schools. Like I said, we go there to the campuses, we work with the leadership team, but we also identify areas of need, and then we develop plans after identifying the root cause of the matter, and we develop plans together to how we're going to be able to solve the need, and then we provide all the support that is needed. Like I said, all of this is customized, is job embedded. We are at the campuses very often, sometimes as much as they want us to be there. Many times, like I said, is once a week. Sometimes it's more than once a week. We're always a phone call away, but we are always constantly communicating with especially with the principal, and in turn, then we collaborate with him and the teachers and the parents, and again with students as we do demonstrations with students in teaching best practices. We're there to collaborate with them. We also conduct what we call camps. Some of the camps that are identifying specific groups that are based upon the different tests that they give the students, as they are, whether formative assessments or summative assessments. If they have specific needs that they have encountered, we also provide what we call those camps. And in those camps, what we do is we bring again best practices. We work with them. The teachers are observing us. Then the teachers participate through team teaching, and then they do it on their own, and we provide feedback to them. And then that way they become experts. And we want to say this because we want these areas that we're addressing to be habit of mind. So to become habits of mind. So we need to do it consistently so that they can become experts. And these practices that we're trying to demonstrate to them, that they become habits of mind, so that it becomes automatically done by students. We have seen this very well done. We observe the changes in terms of learning, in terms of competency development. We've seen how teachers incorporate these best practices, and in turn, you can see the outcomes on student increase of achievement. And again, it's important that we then look at all this data so that we understand how the students are progressing. We demonstrate that to the students. The students then feel empowered. Teachers feel inspired. We work on innovative practices as well. And again, it's all about building capacity in the teaching as well as in the administrative field. I don't see anyone in my presentation, so I don't know if there's something that I'm having trouble with, but this is the end of my presentation. I don't have anyone here. I see Nadia Nashir. She said hello, but nothing else. Okay, I see. I'm sorry. I see now. I was stuck here with. I was seeing only one person. Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Nadia. Uh, I can't hear you. Thank you for my time. I serve multiple learners in Buffalo, New York. Yes. Uh, thank you.